Maman m'a dit qu'elle écoutait souvent du Stevie Wonder quand elle attendait gentiment que je vienne au monde. Je suis venu sachant qu'on ne voit vraiment jamais, non jamais, si bien qu'avec le cœur. On passe nos vies à compter tout ce que l'on n'a pas, en mettant parfois nos foi dans le plus gris des états. On oublie qu'on est bien que de l'intérieur, ça n'enlève pas les pleurs. Mais moi, je fais comme Dumbo, je ne fais que voler au-dessus de mes défauts. Je fais comme Dumbo, je ne fais que voler. Un éléphant roi se trompe parfois et danse aussi mal que vous et moi. En éléphant, moi, je ne me trompe pas quand je me dis qu'il faut qu'on s'aime soit. Les oiseaux les plus bruyants, les plus coucous, je suis là, ne sont pas les plus aimants, enfin ça dépend je crois. La place que l'on prend ne dit jamais bien si l'on est heureux de ce que l'on devient. Je fais comme Dumbo, je ne fais que voler au-dessus de mes défauts. Je fais comme Dumbo, je ne fais que voler. Un éléphant roi se trompe parfois et danse aussi mal que vous et moi. En éléphant, moi, je ne me trompe pas quand je me dis qu'il faut qu'on s'aime soit. Au soir. Qu'aiment les hommes qui ne s'aiment pas? Je me suis souvent demandé ce qu'aiment les hommes qui ne s'aiment pas. Moi je m'envole, je m'en vais. Je fais comme Dumbo, je ne fais que voler au-dessus de mes défauts. Je fais comme Dumbo, je ne fais que voler. Un éléphant roi se trompe parfois et danse aussi mal que vous et moi. En éléphant, moi, je ne me trompe pas quand je me dis qu'il faut qu'on s'aime soit. Un éléphant roi se trompe parfois et danse aussi mal que vous et moi. En éléphant, moi, je ne me trompe pas quand je me dis qu'il faut qu'on s'aime soit.
Un autre jour commence et je me dis que ce sera le plus beau jour de ma vie. Plus j'y pense, plus je souris. Pas besoin de raison pour être happy. Nouveau matin, nouveau destin. Oh, 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 oh. Rien ne me retient à vivre enfin. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, oh. Le soleil sur ma peau, la musique dans ma radio. Tout est vrai, tout est beau. Ma vie joue en stéréo. Oh, 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 oh. Joue en stéréo. Un autre pas, je boude les taxis. Le vent dans le dos, rien ne me ralentit. Plus j'y crois, plus j'y arrive. Que ceux qui m'aiment suivent and the others can leave. Un nouveau matin, nouveau destin. Oh, 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 oh. J'irai plus loin, encore plus loin. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, oh. Le soleil sur ma peau, la musique dans ma radio. Tout est vrai, tout est beau. Ma vie joue en stéréo. Oh, 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 oh. Joue en stéréo. la musique dans ma radio. Tout est vrai, tout est beau. Le soleil sur ma peau, la musique dans ma radio. Tout est vrai, tout est beau, ma vie joue en stéréo. En stéréo, en stéréo, en stéréo. Oh, 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 oh.
On écrit sur les murs le nom de ceux qu'on aime, des messages pour les jours à venir.
On écrit sur les murs à l'encre de nos veines,
On dessine tout ce que l'on voudrait dire.
partout autour de nous.
Y a des signes d'espoir dans les regards. Donnons-leur écrit, car dans la nuit tout s'efface. Même leurs traces. On écrit sur les murs le nom de ceux qu'on aime, des messages pour les jours à venir. On écrit sur les murs à l'encre de nos veines, on dessine tout ce que l'on voudrait dire. On écrit sur les murs la force de nos rêves, nos espoirs en forme de gravity. On écrit sur les murs pour que l'amour se lève un beau jour sur le monde endormi.
Des mots seulement gravés
Pour ne pas oublier, pour tout changer.
mélangeons demain dans un refrain
Nos visages métissages. On écrit sur les murs le nom de ceux qu'on aime, des messages pour les jours à venir. On écrit sur les murs à l'encre de nos veines, on dessine tout ce que l'on voudrait dire. On écrit sur les murs la force de nos rêves, nos espoirs en forme de gravity. On écrit sur les murs pour que l'amour se lève un beau jour sur le monde endormi. On écrit sur les murs le nom de ceux qu'on aime, des messages pour les jours à venir.
On écrit sur les murs à l'encre de nos veines,
On dessine tout ce que l'on voudrait dire. On écrit sur les murs le nom de ceux qu'on aime, des messages pour les jours à venir. On écrit sur les murs à l'encre de nos veines, on dessine tout ce que l'on voudrait dire. On écrit sur les murs la force de nos rêves, nos espoirs en forme de gravity. On écrit sur les murs pour que l'amour se lève un beau jour sur le monde endormi. Un beau jour sur le monde endormi.
J'ai voulu dormir et j'ai fermé les yeux sans même voir que le ciel était bleu. Je me suis réveillée sous un nouveau soleil et depuis ce jour-là rien n'est pareil. Lumière des projecteurs qui réchauffe mon cœur. Tout au fond de moi je n'ai plus jamais peur. J'ai trouvé le sens de la raison qui m'entraîne à chaque pas sur le devant de la scène. J'ai trouvé le sens de la vie que je mène et je l'aime. C'est une évidence, j'ai trouvé ma voie. Je prends mon envol mais je n'oublie pas les paroles d'une chanson d'enfance qui me rappelle d'où je viens, d'où je tiens ma chance. Lumière artificielle qui fait briller mes yeux et je sors de l'ombre pas sur le devant de la scène. J'ai trouvé le sens de la vie que je mène et je l'aime. J'ai trouvé le sens de la raison qui m'entraîne à chaque pas sur le devant de la scène. J'ai trouvé le sens de la vie que je mène et je l'aime. De sens en contresens, on se perd toujours quand on ne fait pas les choses avec un peu d'amour. C'est peut-être lui qui rend notre ambition fascinante. Il est dans ma voix, c'est pour ça que je chante. J'ai trouvé le sens de la raison qui m'entraîne à chaque pas sur le devant de la scène. J'ai trouvé le sens de la vie que je mène et je l'aime. Sens de la vie que je mène et je l'aime. Même dans le ciel qui se voile, il y a toujours une étoile qui scintille et nous guide sur le chemin de nos rêves. Et quand on y croit, un nouveau jour se lève. J'ai trouvé le sens de la raison qui m'entraîne à chaque pas sur le devant de la scène. J'ai trouvé le sens de la vie.
Once upon a time, students at Beecher Cove Elementary were distracted by the big, beautiful hot air balloon that was landing in the basketball court. Once it was settled on the ground, the driver called out, "All aboard! It's time to travel around the world. The first stop is Australia." As he sang out, all the kids shouted, "Yay!" and all 550 students piled into the balloon basket. Field trips win the fourth graders as the balloon started to ascend and accelerate. "Wait for us!" bellowed all the Beecher Cove teachers at once. But the dance music had started and was as loud as thunder. A few of the children noticed the terrified teachers and smiled and waved goodbye. One teacher's head popped over the side of the basket. Abby plucked his fingers from the edge and hollered, "I'd like your cut, G." The teacher tumbled to earth with a bump on his rump and a serious thump. The Australia adventure had started with a dance party, but when Gabby and Ellie noticed the devastation left by the wildfires of 2021, they shouted, "Let's go help the koalas!" Nixon and Tegan led the way to the koala sanctuary, where the students were able to help take care of the orphaned koalas. After feeding them eucalyptus leaves, Jack Diamond suggested going fishing in the Billabong Goo. "Yuck!" screamed Claire, "that's nasty." But she was overruled, and off they went fishing. After they caught 10,000 fish, they had a fish fry for lunch. With satisfied and full bellies, they discussed their next stop. "Egypt," yelled Ivy. "China," suggested Ronan. "No, I know where we should go," said Landon. "Let's visit Queen Elizabeth in the United Kingdom." So all 550 students again jammed into the basket of the rainbow-colored hot air balloon and flew west in search of Her Majesty the Queen. As they left the ground, they shouted, "Have a good day from Beecher Cove Elementary." They traveled 10,000 miles to meet the Queen in the country of England. The hot air balloon landed near London Bridge. Everyone sang, "London Bridge is falling down." As they walked across the bridge, the water gushing down the river below them. The first thing Madame Nicole's class wanted to do was grab a croissant and head straight to the London Eye Ferris wheel. Unfortunately, there weren't enough seats, so some people had to hang off the sides. It was scary. Kaden and Max were at the top of the Ferris wheel when they shouted to the whole school, "Look, the Queen is in that boat in the river." She waved and said, "Hi" from down below. They ran back to the hot air balloon and jumped aboard before lifting off into the air. They rose to the sky, up and up and up and up. All 550 students agreed. "Next stop, the North Pole," said the captain. After a long ride northwest, they spotted Santa's workshop through a misty snowstorm. Santa politely asked if they would like some hot chocolate, and everyone said yes, please. The hot chocolate was indeed delicious, but the kids were getting hungry. Their bellies rumbled and grumbled. They needed food. Well, what better snack to eat than some hot, gooey chocolate chip cookies, made by Mrs. Claus herself? She appeared from the kitchen carrying 2 cookies for each kid. That's 1,100 cookies. The hungry kids gobbled the cookies down in less than 5 seconds. The kids were eager to have a tour of Santa's magic village. Santa agreed and said ho 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 with a snap of his fingers and a blink of his eye. The Beachy Cove kids were transported to his toy workshop. The elves were busy making toys for Christmas 2021. Eyeing the elves, Brock asked, "Hey, can I help make some toys?" "I know all the kinds of toys that 6-year-olds like." Soon Phoenix, Logan, and Sarah were pleading, "Me, me, me, me." Santa paired each child with an elf to practice some toy making. All of a sudden, Annabelle yelled at the top of her lungs, "Look! The rainbow hot air balloon is taking off. We have to go." Everyone quickly thanked their new elf friend and ran with lightning speed to the hot air balloon. Inside of the balloon, there was a yellow post-it note that read, "Next stop, Africa." This has been a collaborative writing project brought to you by Beachy Cove student writers in class Kindergarten O'Keefe, Grade 1 Madame 8E, Grade 2 Madame Barella, Grade 3 Madame Kennedy, and Grade 4 Monsieur Shoemaker.
Vous avez atteint la fin du livre. Relire. Créer avec Book Creator.
Hi, we wanted to create a project that would teach people how to save energy.
Instead of showing you a video with people turning off lights and sinks, we decided to make games on Scratch where people could practice saving energy and have fun at the same time.
The following is a presentation of these games. Hope you like it.
Hi, today we made this new fun game in Scratch. It explains to you how you save energy and not turn on the heat. It's much better to put on clothes instead of turning on the heat. You must agree. How you play is just like this. Simple. What it will say, "Thank you for saving energy. Help me find my clothes so we don't turn on the heat. Press the arrow keys to move me." You move the clothes. You have to move the person around and find it. It will have a little description about what it says. You'll go around and you'll take the stuff, and you'll take the clothes. It'll all go around in the pile. I'm not going to tell you what happens next, or else you'll know what happens, and you'll not want to play the game. Thank you.
Hello, and we are Team Maze, and for our NL Power Saving Project, we chose to do a maze on how to and it explains how to unplug all of the devices, and if it's 100%, you should definitely unplug it. but you also don't want to plug it in if it's 50% or over. We also added music to the background. Like, and if you touch the walls, you go back to the beginning.
And there's a different way.
What are you talking about?
We got it right there because they're just the bad guy. And so, Purple Among Us character is trying to plug out everything. We made skins for everywhere, so he changes skins every single time he does something different. So it goes up if he looks up, and goes down if he looks down, and switches sides when he's moving left to right. I'm very proud of the skin, and so is my partner. Yeah. So when you touch the iPad, you go to the next level, and that's how we made it. And we put a lot of skins and work into it. He did most of the coloring though, and I did a lot of the coding. We had the pleasure showing you our presentation.
Hi, we're the Scratch Boys, and today we will be showing our Newfoundland Power game in Scratch. Use the arrows to help Scratch find the electric car charging stations. He'll be happy when there's lots all around the province. Now time to play. So you have to use the arrows up, forward, down, forward, down, forward, down, forward, down. And then we go all the way forward, down, right over here. And we go up, then to the side. Now we got 1. And he always changes sides when you tap the different keys too, except for the sides. So when you hit the left side, he turns left, and when you hit right, he goes right. Yeah, go over there. This one? Yeah. That one is a little bit the harder one. This one here is the one that you should always go last, the one that's right here that we're going to. So that one's very hard because there's like a big box that it's in. I always mess up on getting that, that's why he has to do that one. Okay, I'm gonna go get the other one. I want to get it. Buddy, can I get it? Buddy, come on. Okay, that's our project.
Hi, this is my partner. Say hi.
Hello.
And we are taking part in the NL Power Contest. So we made a game where Scratch has to go around to get to the fridge because he left the fridge door open, and he has to get to the fridge to close it. So you use the left and right keys and the up and down keys to move. And if you touch the walls, you restart. And if you get through the maze, there'll be it'll play a sound like ta-da. So then you'll know you won, and it'll say out on the screen, you won, and it'll have a bunch of dancing people.
So I will do the demonstration, but we will not finish the game yet. So around here, we put some furniture, just to make it look a little bit more like a house. And there's lots of ways that you can get to the end. Anyway. And over here is kind of like stairs. You use the left and the bottom arrow to go down. Hello, I made this game about saving power. It's important to save power so you don't waste electricity, and you can do a bunch of different kinds of things with saving out stuff, and I think it's good for the environment. So, yeah, I'll just play the game. So you play as this little donut, and you have to move around, turning off all the electronics and turning off all the lamps. And for instance, I just turned off that computer. Then you can go and turn off everything else. So yeah. And then when you touch the last one, it says you saved a lot of energy today, so yeah. Hi, today I'm going to show you the video game I made on Scratch about trying to save energy. So, you have to click the first arrow, and then it brings you to this room. You have to find the ingredient in this room. It is an apple, and you have to find it. I'm not going to show you where it is, but because that would spoil the game. After you have to get it before that arrow appears. Then in this room there's bread. You need to find the bread. You need to find it before the arrow that's going to appear in a few seconds appears. Otherwise you've lost. So I just gotta wait. In this one, you have to find the bananas. Once you find them, you have to click them, and then once you've clicked it, it will disappear. That happens with every fruit. And this one's a bit longer because this one I find is a little harder to find than the other two. And there's going to be an arrow down here. You have to click it. Then a giant ball will appear there. Once that ball appears, you have to click it, and if you've got all the ingredients, you've won. That is my Scratch project. Thanks for listening.
So, I made a game on Scratch called Saving Energy with Scratch, as you can see there. It teaches people to save energy with mini games in it, such as collecting all the lightning bolts, or turning on the heat, or putting on a sweater. Which would you choose? Turning on the heat or putting on a sweater? You only have 25 energy, but the car only burns energy when it's on. So, when the car is not on, it doesn't burn energy, so you kind of have to be conservative about your energy. Once you're done your tasks, click Done. It checks if you've done all the tasks, and if you have, it'll say, you won! Now I'm just going to give a little demonstration. So, as you can see, we have 25 energy. Now, spacebar. This is the maze mini game. This is the one with the lightning bolts. And you get teleported back to the start if you touch the walls. That's really annoying. Alright, and now we're back. But I can't move because my car is off. Turn it on. Now this is that. I think I'm going to turn up the heat. I don't like sweaters. Nope. Low energy. And then we'll click Done because we have done all the tasks. It's important to save energy, kids.
And we are going to show you our Newfoundland power game. So So what you're going to want to do is you're going to need to go up and try to get all the way up to there. And you're going to need to try to collect every single one of those little boxes. And then and when you touch them, there will be light. Power is important to us, so then we can do all the things that we love with power. Like playing video games and watching our TV with our friends. And that means we can also have light. Saving energy is important because if you want to do all those fun things, you need to save the energy. And natural light is a great way on how to use it. So you would go through the game and you would try to go through all of those, and once you get it, you completed the game.
Me and my partners have all made a new fun Scratch game. Step 1. How the game works. So, Scratch comes home from work and realizes that his kid has turned on all the lights around the house. So he has to go around the house and collect all the light bulbs to turn off the lights. If you touch the walls, you're turned back to the start, which is the porch.
Why is it important to save energy? This game is important because the kid has been turning on all the lights and that's wasting a lot of energy. The point of the game is to use natural light when there's no need to use light in your house. The parent Scratch knows that because his kid, Scratch Jr., does not.
Okay, so when we start, Scratch says, "What did you do?" "Haha, I turned on all the lights. Help me turn off the lights." And when I go up, he goes back to the porch when you touch the walls. We have to try to collect all the lightning bolts for saving energy. And it's a challenge because Scratch has to go through this hall, and he fits just perfectly through that hall. Oops, I forgot one. But this is how the game works. Okay, I'll try to collect this one. And if it goes black, that means he collected it. It shows lights off. Now we got one lights off. And at the end, it should say, "You won. Thanks for saving energy."
We've created a game on a coding app called Scratch. We made a game that helps save water. We created this game because we thought it was really important to save water. How the game works is you go around turning off the faucets in a time limit of 70 seconds. If you touch the walls, you go back to the start. And if you complete it, a giant green check will pop up, but if you don't, a red X will pop up. The game is a lot of fun, and what makes it even more fun is you get to save water. Now we will play a bit of the game for you.
Hello, my name is Scratch, and I accidentally left the water running. Help me turn off all the faucets before we lose all the energy. Just press the water drop. We need to collect 5 to win the game. Yes. And the lightning bolts help you go a tiny bit faster, but not very much, because you don't want to go blasting all around. And we'll just keep playing a bit till the green check or the X comes up. We'll see. Oh no, there's one quick question. Hello. Oh no. No! We have 12 seconds. Oh, 7, 9, 8, 7. There we go. So we completed the game and the green check. And that is why it is we created this game also because we like saving water. Hope you liked your game. Bye.
Goodbye, Skeleton. Hello, energy savers.
This war has to stop. The Germans have got to calm down. My name is Jackson. I'm also a soldier from Canada, and 1 million people from Canada were in the war against the Germans. I'm from Newfoundland, and I heard yesterday that the Germans had sunk 3 ships off of Newfoundland because we give the iron to the countries that are in the war that are not Germany. So because we did that, they decided to sink 3 ships. So they have to calm down. I'm in battle right now. I'm in the battlefield of mud. The Germans are in tanks, helicopters, and bases. We decided to go on the attack, but right as I was about to go to the start of the battle, I got called off because I was very sick and had to go home. I had caught the flu from living in the mud for nearly a year. I went to the hospital to get treated. After a week in the hospital, I recovered from the flu, but while they were trying to give me medicine, they found out that my arm was broken and they treated it, but when they treated it, it felt like a bullet ant sting. A month later, I was home. When I walked in the door, my family was very happy to see me again, to let you know I was not going back to war.
The Senses of War by Samuel Howlett. Here are the bombs going off, and hear the gunshots that are zooming. But at home, hear the laughing joy of your children, and hear humming of the microwave. See the wounds on your body, and see the bombs dropping off the planes. But at home, see your children eating at the table, and see your children playing together. Touch the guns that you were given, and touch the mud that you step in. But at home, touch the toy cars your children play with, and touch the utensils that you use to eat your food. Taste the overripe fruit and the ashes of the burning grass. But at home, taste the delicious food and the delicious apple pie. Smell the ashes of the enemies burning, and smell the smoke of the fire ablaze. But at home, smell the delicious meals and smell the delicious dessert. The end.
November 11th. Poppies are red, violets are blue, and we are sad and guns go boom. Remember the day, November 11th, we wear poppies to remember the people that passed away. In the war, people died and many of other people cried. I usually wear poppies every year in November to remember peace to people.
Poppies are red, violets are blue. Let's remember the people who died fighting for you. Don't laugh, don't cry, just remember what they did and do. Wear a poppy to honor them, honor all those brave women and men.
Remember by Madeline. There was a man who lived the best life. He had a wife named Jenna and 2 kids. His name was John. One day, the war started in 1914. John had no choice but to join the war. He never wanted to leave his family. He just wanted to protect it. In the war, John was shot, John was injured, but he never stopped fighting. John had never been so scared in his life. The man was sad, the man was mad, and his family was worried. All John wanted was the war to stop, everybody to be safe, and the bad people to go to jail. After 3 years of war and 3 years of not seeing family, John died. John's family knew that they would remember him with a poppy. It was the number one most important thing in their life. On November 11th, they stop doing what they're doing and take 2 minutes of silence to remember. And they wear a little poppy right by their heart, just because they care for him. They were not the only family that had someone die in the war. 2,300 Newfoundlanders died in the Great Wars. That is why a poppy is important, because you need to remember.
Why do we wear poppies? It's a big question, but I'll answer it. We wear poppies because they were on the most dangerous battlefield, so it respects the one who dies. It respects the Canadians who fought for our country. So we wear poppies to respect the Canadians who died in this fight. This is why we wear poppies.
The poppy field is peaceful to people. It appeared after the war, but what for? Is it bad or good? Let's find out next time we go to the woods. I go to this place to remember the people who died in honor. We're at Poppy on Remembrance Day to respect the people who died for peace on earth.
Poppies by Caitlin O'Keefe. Poppies are a symbol of peace. We wear poppies to remember the soldiers who fought around the world for peace. On November 11th at 11 o'clock, no matter where we are, what we're doing, please take 2 minutes for 2 moments of silence to remember the soldiers. This is why poppies are important to Remembrance Day.
The gun. The sound of a gunshot sending a shiver down your spine, of wonder where it's coming from, or if it's going to hit you, or if you're next. C. The sight of downed soldiers or bleeding soldiers, and the sight of bullets that could ricochet back and hit you as fast as 200 miles per hour. Touch. The feeling of wet socks and boots, as wet as your hair when you jump in a pool or water every day, and feeling of metal in your hands every day. Smell. The smell of gunpowder. Gunpowder smells like dirty socks. Gas like mustard gas that can kill many people at once. Taste. The taste of not always clean water, or not even water at all. And the taste of ashes by Jarrett Wheaton.
Remembrance Day by Jack Rideout. Pew pew, the sound of gunshots in the distance. Boom, bombs going off, grenades sizzling in the air. Swish, swish. The soldiers trying to get through the path of terror. Silence. The sound of silence was deafening to the soldiers. Mud. Mud weighing you down. The cold air making your lungs heavy. The heat from other soldiers who are trying to help the injured. Blood warm on your hands. Tears running down your cheeks. The feeling that life would never be the same. The gunpowder in the air is thick and makes your throat scratchy. The taste you will never forget. Fear in your heart, but knowing you have to keep going. Images of lifeless bodies and wondering if you would be next. The end is near. Hope is still living in your heart. We fought for you. Remember me with a poppy.
The War for Peace and Freedom by Freya Snook. There once was a man named John. He had a family. The family did not have a lot of food, water, or heat. John was getting scared, and the only thing he could possibly think of was to stop eating so the family could eat. John would go to bed at night and cry. And he said to Mary, his wife, with tears in his eyes, "What can I do to help?" And Mary said, "You're doing everything you can, now get some sleep." Then John had to go to war to fight for peace and freedom in his country and family. John knew that he would not see his family in a long time, and they were all scared that they would never see him again. The family begged him not to go to war, but John insisted, and there was no stopping him. He said his goodbyes to Mary and the kids and left. When he got to the military, they trained for 1 week, then went to war. It was scary for John. He fell in a trench. He landed so hard it felt like he had fallen through the earth. John knew that he had at least broken 2 ribs, but John was tough. He tried climbing out. When John was almost out, someone shot him in the arm. When he fell to the bottom of the trench again, he fainted. When John woke up, he was on a hospital bed and bandaged up. The family put a poppy on the windowsill and prayed that John would come home safe and sound. But John's wounds got so bad one day he passed away. A man came to the wife's house and said, "Your husband has expired." Mary broke out in tears and the whole family was devastated. So that is why we should wear a poppy on November 11th at 11 o'clock a.m., pray for 2 minutes to show respect to the soldiers that died fighting for peace and freedom for you.
The War Poem by Evan Woolley. Boom, bang, ah! The sights of war. The sights of war are terrible. You see dead soldiers and wounded soldiers falling to the ground. Blood, bombs, and mud. The sights you wish for. Your kids and wife cooking in the kitchen and seeing your dog lying down on the floor. The sound of war. The sound of war is terrible. You hear soldiers screeching and yelling in pain and bombs going off. You also hear gunfire that sounds like you're going to get hit. The sound you wish for. Your kids learning how to play the trumpet and the piano, and your wife's old necklaces dangling from her neck. The feel of war. The feel of war is terrible. You feel like you're going to throw up and feeling broken bones cracking in your body, bullets ricocheting off of people's helmets and hitting other people, and feeling pain every second, and pain that you can't describe. The feel you wish for. Your dog's fuzzy fur on your right hand, and your kids lying on top of you, sand on your chest when you go to the beach because your kid just buried you in sand like a treasure chest. Feelings of war. In war you feel sad like never before, and your heart will crack into two. You'll be scared like never before, and your heart will pound out of your chest. That is the feeling of war. Poppies. We wear poppies to remember the soldiers and people who died in the war, and people who fought for peace in our country. Soldiers. Soldiers that were very brave, and without soldiers, there would be no peace in the world. So remember to take some time and remember soldiers that fought in the war. Family. When you go to war, you miss your family a lot, but you know that they will be worried about you too. But family will give you courage at the same time. Remembering. That's why we need to remember the soldiers who fought in the war. Remember the soldiers.
The surviving war. One time in 1943, there was a family of 4. They were more on the poor side than rich. They lived in a small, quiet town, and they didn't have a big house at all. In the home was a kitchen, a living room, and that was pretty much it. There was an outhouse outside right next to the garden. It was hard for them because they only got 1 serving of food every day from the garden. They would have to take turns eating the food. Then one night, Robert, the father of the family, was outside on the patio with Mary, the mother of the family. They were talking about Robert joining the war because Mary, she was a nurse for the injured people. And Mary wasn't at home as much because of work, so Robert had to take care of the children, Anne and Frank, and they were about 9 years old. And if Robert left to the war, the children would have to stay with their grandparents. So a few months had passed, and they were saying their goodbyes to their father. Robert and I thought that Robert and the children and Robert and the mother thought they would never see each other again. Then when he left, it was hard for Mary, but they got through it. And then a few years had passed, and then they were eating supper one night and got a knock at the door, and Robert was there. They were so happy to see him, and he came and ate supper with them, and it all went normal again. And that is my story of the surviving war by Emily French.
Remembrance Day by Claire Tucker. Dun, dun, dun. It is Remembrance Day. Me and my family attend the Remembrance Day parade that is right by my house. When I see the parade, I settle down to listen to the speaker. I always remember to wear my poppy. On Remembrance Day, my brownies march in the Remembrance Day parade. I don't want to look like a grumpy old grouch, but I don't want to be silly in the parade. November 11th. I'm down at the end of the parade, and I'm now singing O Canada, and soon I'll be singing O to Newfoundland, and you can hear such beautiful voices. Just listen. O Canada, our home and native land, 10 minutes later, we are moving on to the next song. After that, we have 2 minutes of silence. And when we do that, I think of many soldiers who tried hard to fight to get peace for Canada. Many died as well. The fact is that Remembrance Day isn't to be silly or sad. It's just to be peaceful and remember those who gave us that peace. Bye, Claire Turner.
Poppies are red, violets are blue. War is no good, but you already know. On November 11th, we take a pause for 2 minutes of silence to pray and remember those who have been lost. Poppies are what we wear to remember, not just the men but women too, who fought in the war to protect me and you. We're thankful for those who fought and are still fighting too, to give us peace, freedom, and a safe place to go home to. By Claire 5.
A terrible life. Mom and Dad are really, really worried. We have no food, no water. We're very hungry. We have nothing to do but work. My birthday is coming up and I can't even celebrate it, and I have no siblings. Mommy and Daddy don't have any time for me because they have to work so much. Our clothes are made out of old rags, and my life is filled with unhappiness and unhealthiness. Mommy and Daddy are acting weird, like they're hiding something from me. I'm going to go and read. A little while later. I think I'm going to go outside and get some fresh air. Then I heard my Mommy and Daddy speaking. I don't want to go to war, but it's for our family, said my Daddy. And what about telling Liliana, said Mommy. Well, that is going to be challenging. Yeah. Oh no, this was terrible. My Daddy was going to war, and I know about it. I wish I hadn't eavesdropped on my Mommy and Daddy. Why does it have to be my Daddy? Knock, 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 went my Mommy's hand on the door. Come in, I said. Dear Liliana, I have some really terrible news. Your Daddy is going to the war, and he is leaving tomorrow night. I know you're going through a lot, and you're going to be really sad, but he is doing it for us, said Mommy. I know, I said. I went outdoors to get some fresh air, and I overheard your conversation. Oh, she said. Bye, Daddy. And then he left. I had been crying for a long time. Mommy and me had been crying. Mommy had been crying for a long time too, but he was gone, and that was it. About a year and a half later, Mommy received a call. It was about Daddy. The soldier on the other end said that Daddy had been killed. Mommy came and told me. We cried for hours and hours and hours. We would never see him again. That is why we wear poppies on November 11th, to show respect to those who fought for peace and freedom for our country.
June 1919. I'm Judy. I'm here to tell you about World War I. When I was 4, Daddy went to war. It meant too much for me. He was the only one who didn't scowl at me. Though every night after supper I went to the woods and found a poppy. I held it to my heart and prayed he'd come back, but he didn't. December 1919. After a while, I started to get sad. He was not coming back, and I started to feel bad. A couple weeks later, I hear some bad news. Daddy was gone. My whole family cried, but especially me. My friends had lost some too. And I said, hold a poppy to your heart and think of them for 2 minutes. Now you should understand the meaning of Remembrance Day.
In 1914 to 1918, there was a big war between the Allies, which included Canada, and the Central Powers, which included Germany and others. There was a man that had a wife that went to war that did not survive. She had one kid, and he was very sad that his mom didn't survive. Years later, there was another war. It was again the Allied countries against the Axis, and their dad, Bob, had to go to war. His kid, Mike, was very sad. His dad had to go to Mike's nan's to drop him off. The nan was also very sad, but he said he had to go because it was his job. They said their goodbyes, and then he left. He had to train, then he was on the way to war. He got to war, and all he could think about was his kid. but he still fought. One day later, he was very injured. A bomb broke his leg and cracked one of his ribs, but he still fought. After 5 years, war was over. He has survived, but he was severely injured. He was also very excited to see Mike. He arrived at the house. He got there at the best time because it was Mike's grandson's 2nd birthday, and as soon as he opened the door, Mike was very happy to see his dad.
A day in the trenches. A man's thoughts. Boom! A bullet zips past my ear, narrowly missing me. The faint smell of gunpowder fills the air like smoke from a fire. So it begins. Another day in the trenches. At this point, I just cannot remember a time when I have done anything else other than war. Has it been weeks, months, or years? Simply impossible to tell anymore. Our food supplies are running out. The war rages on and on. Tick, 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 tick. This morning I woke up to a bomb exploding about a mile away. I can only imagine my poor wife thinking about me. We are doing the best we can. I just have to hope that's enough. This afternoon something dreadful happened. The Germans used mustard gas on us. I was one of the few that survived. I'm afraid our ranks are not much more. I'm scared like a puppy in a thunderstorm. My troop is scared too. We were 20, but as of now we are 8. I can remember the recruiting posters in town. Those posters never said anything about the wet socks. Today was very strange indeed. At 11 in the morning, it was announced that the war was over. Finally, we can go home. Goodbye, no man's land. Nothing personal, but I am never going to see you again. Long story short, I am home. My wife and children were extremely happy to see me, but the war has changed me. I will always remember my days in trenches.
Elementary.
It gave us the opportunity to get children really excited about the writing, because when you're publishing for somebody else, not just your teacher, it's a lot more meaningful than just when you're doing it to pass it in and get a grade on it. So we felt that was an important aspect of the project.
So there's a person pulling up a boulder up a mountain, and he's doing it because he wants to do it. And the cover and the title is "I Will Because I Can," so it shows he will do it because he can do it.
I was excited because when I was littler, I wanted to be a writer. So I feel like my dream has come a little true.
Why the topic of resilience?
I think it's where we are right now. We're feeling it a lot with different instances where kids are struggling to solve problems. They're needing to have adults involved. I think partially because of the pandemic as well. Families and problems have been a lot more isolated to a family. So now we get to a school and we're in a group there, and we've got other things to worry about. And we're seeing, children having struggles trying to figure out how to deal in certain situations. So the resilience aspect made a lot of sense for us, and definitely, where we are right now in society and with the pandemic, it made perfect sense.
I've learned about how to be more resilient and how to, pretend I fall, get back up, and just keep on going, and learn about how to not say no to myself.
If you're resilient, then you can withstand more pressure, and as a result, you won't melt down when put under pressure.
This is a resource for the students, made by the students, and I think that they would understand it better when it's at their reading level, at their understanding, and so on, and issues that they face every day. So we really wanted them to think about, well, what is something that might happen to you today? So they're late at school, or they left a project at home, or something happens on the playground. So you'll find lots of stories like that in there as well. And then we wanted them to find solutions to their issues so that they could learn to deal with them themselves.
A lot of things have been tough to do, and it just, resilience just keeps me going, kind of.
What's been toughest for you?
Not going to school in person, not seeing my friends, not seeing my family.
like not going places. It was a bit difficult because I miss being able to give my friends hugs. I miss being able to chat in person and not having to deal with bad Wi-Fi.
They were nervous coming into the school. They were nervous about being close to friends. Then they were nervous about the different activities. Should I keep my mask up? Can I take it down? I'd like to speak to you, miss. I can't hear what you're saying. So, even just seeing us in mask was nervous for them. And so, again, helping to try and bring that down a little bit by bringing it talking to them about it. Sometimes talking about it and giving them ideas and solutions help quite a bit.
I hope they learned that they could do anything.